The Congressional Black Caucus PAC endorsed Hillary Clinton yesterday in what was seen as a significant endorsement, especially considering that the South Carolina primaries are coming in just a few weeks. The Democratic South Carolina primary is usually composed of a majority of black voters. So, in attaining this endorsement, it's looked at as good news for Hillary Clinton and securing that black vote. But there's a distinction to be drawn from the Congressional Black Caucus PAC and the actual Congressional Black Caucus. They're different. The actual Congressional Black Caucus is made up of 46 members of Congress. And one of them, Representative Keith Ellison, Democrat out of Minnesota, he's also a Bernie Sanders supporter, reacted to this news by saying that the Congressional Black Caucus was not informed of this decision, and it does not reflect on the actual Congressional Black Caucus and their endorsement. They haven't endorsed anybody as a group. Members of the CBC PAC board include Darren Watts, a lobbyist for Purdue Pharma, the maker of the highly addictive opioid OxyContin, Mike McKay and Shaka Burgess, both lobbyists for Navient, the student loan giant that was spun off of Sallie Mae, former Representative Albert Wynn, Democrat Maryland, a lobbyist who represents a range of clients, including work last year on behalf of Lorillard Tobacco, the maker of Newport cigarettes, and William A. Kirk, who lobbies for a cigar industry trade group on a range of tobacco regulations. So it's a little concerning that the CBC PAC went ahead with this endorsement without, securing the approval of the actual CBC. I know that they are two separate entities, but they are linked somehow. That's not the only troublesome factor that happened. This endorsement, was held at the Democratic National Committee headquarters. That's a bad look because the DNC is supposed to be neutral in this whole campaign. They're supposed to be looking out for what's best for the Democratic Party, not choosing which side gets the nomination. But here it looks like, at least passively, they're embracing the endorsement of Hillary Clinton.
And in addition to endorsing Hillary Clinton, there was a few members decided to speak at this event, one being John Lewis. A reporter posed a question to Mr. Lewis concerning Bernie Sanders and his civil rights work and his experience. And this is what John Lewis had to say.
You were obviously a member of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Obviously, Senator Sanders was involved in civil rights work and being part of SNCC in the Chicago area, the Chicago sector. What do you say about his previous work on civil rights? And
well, to be very frank, I don't want to cut you off, but I never saw him. I never met him. I would chair the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee for 3 years, from 1963 to 1966. Was involved in the sit-ins, the Freedom Ride, the March on Washington, the March from Selma to Montgomery, and directed a voter education project for 6 years. But I met Hillary Clinton. I met President Clinton.
Okay. Let's deal with this.
It's a little shade, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a lot of shade.
That's
actually.
a lot of shade, yeah.
One, the years that he noted that he was most active, Hillary Clinton was a teenager for most of those years. I think she was in her early 20s for the later years he was talking about. Now, if indeed they did have a relationship when she was that age, I think we would have heard about it by now.
Definitely.
And probably from Hillary Clinton herself.
Definitely.
She would have been mentioned that. That would have been too big for her not to mention that she was involved in civil rights at such a young age. Number two, Mr. Lewis mentions both her and Bill. But Hillary and Bill did not know each other at that time. All right. And another thing, in Bill Clinton's book, Conversations from Hope to Harlem, John Lewis has a quote in that book. And in that book, in his own words, he says he did not meet the Clintons until 1981.
91.
1991? Okay,
1991.
1991. That's even worse. That's even later.
Right.
Dang. So yeah, he didn't meet the Clintons until 1991.
Right.
Now, why would he like completely make that up? Why would he completely make that up? I mean, so close to the South Carolina primary.
Yeah, a little convenient, right?
A little convenient. It's not just the endorsement is convenient. It's the endorsement along with
the jab,
kind of, the jab, and the repackaging of the history and reality, like
revisionist
history. The revisionist.
Yeah. So look, this is nothing other than besmirching the record of Bernie Sanders. Okay, it's common knowledge by now for anybody paying attention that he was involved during the civil rights movement. Now, nobody's alleging that he was the most active member. He was right there on the front lines. He participated in all the marches. You know, he was locked arm in arm with Martin Luther King Jr. Nobody's suggesting that, okay? But many people did have a role in this whole entire movement. And he did do some work. He worked to desegregate university housing at the University of Chicago. So, I mean, he did some important work. It shouldn't be, categorized as, well, I never saw him. Well, I never met him. And, he didn't do anything.
Yeah, and I do think that, again, this is obviously strategic, but I think it was it last week or was it the week before last where former NAACP president Ben Jealous endorsed Bernie Sanders.
Right.
And he was quoted as saying it wasn't a difficult decision.
Right.
Now, that probably was a thorn in the side of the Clinton campaign. And, with it being close to the South Carolina primaries, they had to do something. And just like, to me, in classic desperation mode, they had to somehow create a narrative that somehow Bernie Sanders is, he's
not worthy
of the black vote.
Yeah.
And she is.
Yeah.
She is more worthy. Again, to me, it's desperation, because what they have to do is they have to take something that is an apparent truth about Bernie Sanders and to just act like it doesn't exist.
Be very dismissive.
Be very dismissive of it. Not in this case, not even dismissive. Completely say it didn't even happen
because he was there and he never saw him.
Yeah, he never saw him. Yeah. But Clinton's the one. That's
right. He's seen Hillary.
I seen those two.
Now, see, okay, let's allow that maybe Representative John Lewis wasn't exactly talking about back in the day in the 60s that he met Hillary and Bill. Okay, let's allow that. Maybe he just lumped those statements together. It sounded like he was talking about the past, but he's just saying that well, he knows Hillary. He knows Bill Clinton. He doesn't know Bernie Sanders. Basically, his whole point was, in all his years in activism, he doesn't know anything about Bernie Sanders. He's never met him, but Hillary and Bill has been right there. Well, Mr. Lewis, the internet has a very long memory. Now, let's put up that picture. Now, you see who Representative John Lewis is hugging right here? That would be Jane Sanders. That's Bernie Sanders' wife. And right behind his left shoulder there, that's Bernie Sanders. Now, this photo was taken at the 50th anniversary of the Selma March.
Photoshop, dog. Photoshop, D. No.
So, like I said, either way you want to look at what his statement actually said, if he actually was talking about how he didn't see Bernie back in the day, so Bernie must not have done anything. Maybe he wasn't saying that. Maybe he's just saying that Bernie has never done anything and he's never met Bernie. Either way, it's a false statement. It's well documented that Bernie did contribute to the civil rights movement, and it's right here, visual proof that he has in fact met Bernie and his wife at a, would I say, activist type of event.
And to be clear, he said never saw him, never met him.
Exactly.
That's way different than saying I don't believe he was active in the movement. Those are two different things. Saying I never saw him, I never met him is a direct contradiction to that photo.
Right.
So why would he do that?
This was a this was all to propel Hillary Clinton's campaign, especially in the state of South Carolina.
Artificially propelled.
Yes.
Too.
There's been talk of the firewall for Hillary Clinton, which is absolutely offensive, that black people would just automatically vote for her because her name is Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, and black people of South Carolina, you should be offended by that
Exactly.
as well.
Exactly.
You're just automatically gonna vote for Clinton because she's a familiar face and because she was Billy Clinton's wife.
Exactly. We don't owe, no group, okay, owns their vote to any candidate. They have to earn it based on the policies they represent, based on their past, what have they done and what have they said. So, like I said, this was a, shot in the arm to her campaign to, drum up some more support in South Carolina where we are at, you know? And from the polls, it looks like she's leading. On the ground, it's not the same feel because we see a lot of Bernie supporters, and they're not just white people. There are a lot of black people here that support Bernie Sanders. So we'll see how this thing, all plays out. Is it going to have a significant effect? Is it going to have a negative effect?
To me, I mean, if you're paying attention, it just doesn't look good. My thing is, if you're truly genuine about something or anything, you don't have to artificially inflate your, I guess your contributions to something.
He's a very well respected figure. He was in the civil rights movement. He's an icon. I'm not going to take any respect away from him. But this was a bad look.
I mean,
there was no reason for this.
Yeah.
That's not even about being a Bernie Sanders supporter. This is about the truth.
And the thing is, unfortunately, the red pill concerning some members of the civil rights movement, the older kind of holdovers are the faces that represent that movement who are kind of older now. It seems as if they have gotten very complacent, and some of them have kind of failed the people that they say they represent. For what? Like you said, a lot of members on that committee are lobbyists, so they're getting paid. So it seems as if they are willing to take a back seat to actual change and aligning themselves with the establishment for some butter biscuits, some extra money in their pocket.
Now they at this event too, they in anticipation of being labeled the establishment, they already pushed back on that before the criticism was even doled out. They said, "Look, we're not establishment. We from the hood. We from the streets." And look.
As the Washington streets,
exactly. Not even that. You can be from the streets and still be establishment. It's not about where you came from. It's about where you at right now. And what you represent. So yeah, we all appreciate that you were from the streets. You worked your way up. You did some good things in the civil rights movement. Like I said, you're well respected. But this doesn't garner any respect right here.
Exactly. You've been compromised.